Fantastic to be with you on Money Life. Proudly brought to you by Botswana Life. Because your future deserves more than just small talk. Yes, indeed, and welcome to it. Good morning, and of course, thanks for joining us on another episode of Money Life with Botswana Life. And for today, we're unpacking something that is such a huge financial transition for all of us, but sometimes, unfortunately, we find ourselves a little bit unprepared for this transition. We're talking retirement, and specifically, we're going to be looking at some of the common mistakes when it comes to retirement. And of course, we're also going to talk about how to avoid these mistakes. And to help us with this conversation in studio with us, I'm so glad he's here. We have Senatla Kabomo, who's an actuarial assistant at Botswana Life. Senatla, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Petulia. I look forward to having this important discussion with you.
Especially because a lot of us re tla be re lebile tsela ya retirement. So go botlhokwa tota gore be re itse gore re ira yang sentle. So maybe we could start there. Why is retirement planning such an important thing, especially nowadays mo ga rona mo Botswana?
Yeah, so thank you again, Petulia. There are a number of factors that make it so important. Particularly, we find that in today's day and age, retirees are living much longer. So due to that, you find common retirement plans often account for 10 to 15 years, but we see that now people are living 20 to 30 years longer past their retirement. So this makes it so that people will need that extra money to carry them forward. And then additionally, we have healthcare costs. They get higher as you get older. As you become a pensioner, we know that so you'll also need extra money to carry you through those increased healthcare costs. And then inflation. That one I'm sure we're all aware of as Botswana. Law for an age of 5 pula, it's now 8 pula. And that's only been in a span of 5 years. So you can imagine 20 years what the buying power of your money will look like. So you need to really think about those things.
And we plan retirement, but it's not something that's scary. And maybe let's talk about the common mistakes. When it comes to planning for retirement.
Okay, so there are three main ones. I'll talk first. So the biggest and most common mistake is that we think retirement planning and saving is something that we'll do towards the end of our careers, but that overlooks the most important thing at retirement, which is time. Retirement saving a benefit at your money earns interest every year, save, and that interest oftentimes over a very long period, it can be more than the money you actually saved. So you lose out on the benefit of that morokotso. How we're now doing our plan retirement, that's the biggest mistake. And then the other one that we do while we're working, withdraw the pension funds early. How change wa letlelwa gore o tse 25% ya sentsong o se beela halele mohiri wa gago e le yone retirement savings ya gago go leka go ithusa ka go kgonang ka teng. Now mathata a teng ke gore Batswana re le bantsi re tsaya madi ao e be re itlhabolla re reka dikoloi re dira se raja tota. Exactly. So that causes an issue because not only do you lose out on the 25% that you have saved, you lose out again on that big one I said before, your time. 25% do na sontsha a ka tseya morokotso o bereka, and madi a na go nna mantsi na go kgobokana tota by the time o tla go retire. So you miss out on that when you withdraw early. And then the third big mistake that we make at the finish line is now taking that 50% when we ra letlelwa ka molao gore re motse me gantsi we itlhela gore ga re le mo gore ga re tsaya madi ao re tsaya mo mading a nka when ra ja mo pension. So if you take 50%, that means you're also having your pension salary.
And I love that you mentioned your kanya 50% because kana re batla re iteboge kana re ntse re bereka all these years, so ha gongwe wa itabogela gore hey make it ke iteboge, but thank you for reminding us gore tota hela it's something that we just shouldn't do. And what are some of the common things that when it comes to debt and lifestyle tse e leng gore tota hela di ja mo retirement planning, because a ka o bua o tshwanetse gore o lebe sentle gore o ira dilo yang. So how does debt and our lifestyle play into planning for retirement?
Yes, so it's advisable that as you approach retirement, you get rid of all your debts. So you minimize loans, general debt, mortgages, try to have it cleared so that when you get to that finish line, you won't need to take the 50%. A lot of times, but in a 50%, so if you part of your retirement planning should also be planning to get there without any debt, so that if you are going to take in the 50%, it's not to cover debt. And I'll say it harder because, like I said earlier, anything that you take as part of that 50% will directly reduce soka sebonang ile pension, which is your salary for life from that point. Yes.
And ha re bua ka guidance le discipline kana go ra gore this retirement planning process e batla tota gore o nne strict and e batla gore o nne le motho e leng gore o ka go thusa gore o go gakolla ha kae. And I'm glad that you're here from Botswana Life gore o re bolelle gore why is discipline and guidance so important in this retirement planning process.
Yes, it's very important because we find that batho ba le bantsi they rely on friends and the instincts instead of professionals. And unfortunately, this leads to poor product choices. You know, you're exposed to scams and you ignore very important things like taxes because you will be taxed on that pension. So it's important to have a professional guiding you. And at Botswana Life, we have a lot of trained professionals that can take you from the very beginning when you start as early as possible and right up to the retirement point. So when you get in touch with us, we'll have a plan tailored for you that's realistic, and we can review it every couple of years to upgrade with your lifestyle as Aunzo.
And I'm going to throw you in the deep end a little bit here, Senatla. Ke batla o mpha just an age e leng gore wena as an actuarial assistant, you feel like, okay, this is the age a ka o buile re le bantsi re itha gore nya ke tla planela retirement ka ke bo 60 bo 65 ke tla simolla go plana ke le 55. But that might just be late.
Yes.
What age do you think is the right age to start planning for retirement?
Yeah, so with that one, it's very, very simple. The right age is the earliest age possible. And that, again, comes to the point of time. So as soon as you start working, there will be something that your employer sets aside and you also contribute from your salary. But over and above that, it's important to save because the 200 pula that you can save at that point early in your career will be worth about as much as the 2,000 that you can save when, say, you're 25 or similar, but now you have 5 years to go. And you now have money, if you save a 2,000. But at that point, you're not going to get much interest. So that 200, it's almost as impactful as the 2K that you can save or to retire. So start as early as possible. Time is your best friend for retirement savings.
And that brings us to my next question. I'd love to find out that key message our listeners when it comes to planning for retirement.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd say get in touch with a professional. We have a lot of professionals at Botswana Life who are ready to help you. We have financial advisors and people like myself working on the back end with the team. So get in touch with a professional, but honestly, starting saving as early as possible will be your best benefit. And also, when you get in touch with the professional, have them assess your lifestyle, because we find a lot of people have that retirement. They go from say and 5,000, 2,000 they get pension because I didn't have any planning. I was just relying on the system. But the system won't account for your lifestyle and how you want to live. So if you want to cover that gap, you need to start saving as early as possible.
Senatla, we love you so much, and we're glad that you stopped by here this morning gore gakolola about the importance of planning for retirement. For anyone that's listening that wants to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can speak to any Botswana Life financial advisor. Call us today on 362-3700, or you can email us at clientservices@belil.co.bw, clientservices@blil.co.bw, or you can follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, for financial tips. But yeah, contacting us directly would be the most effective way to get assistance.
Re Senatla Kabomo, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Ra leboga.
Thank you for having me, Patchouli.
Yes, indeed. And that's how we close off this week's episode of Money Life with Botswana Life. Remember, if you'd like to catch up with any of the episodes, you can do so on Botswana Life's YouTube page. Till we meet again next week, have a good morning. It's a wrap on Money Life, proudly powered by Botswana Life, turning every pula into purpose. Catch you next time.